I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on in the program, our infamous roundtable gets together and we'll make our predictions for some key races in the election coming up on November 6th, and we want to remind you throughout the program, of course, to vote. But throughout the program today, before we get to that, you'll have great guests and information you'll see here, including a discussion about pathways to prosperity that we're doing with some good folks from Randolph Community College. All that's coming up. But first, if you want to know about staying healthy and living healthy and all this good stuff, we have one man who is the expert in this area, and I brought him back today. Next to me is our good friend, Dr. William Satterwhite, Chief Health and Wellness Officer for Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center. See how I built you up there, the expert.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right, look, let me just say to folks at home, because for those that have seen you on this before, or maybe on YouTube or whatever, I'll usually ask questions, and I'll frame the questions like, well, what's good for families? What's good for kids? What's good for seniors? You know, and we sort of talk about healthy lifestyle. But you sent me an email the other day that said, let's talk about best health practices for businesses. And I want to know what you meant by that.
Yeah, you know, businesses or places of work are one of the main connection points for people. And so we had designed a whole suite of offerings and services that are geared towards saying, how can we help people in that context to actually be healthy? So there are a number of different components to that if we thought of them as departments under Best Health for Business, they would be things like corporate health. How do we address the needs of the working people? Executive health. How do we do something for the executives? And then even things like occupational medicine, which is a little bit more worksite injury and things like that.
Right.
Anything that relates to a worker, we've now united under this banner of Best Health for Business.
We didn't rehearse this, but you're talking about occupational health. Is that something that's offered in terms of education, or once an injury or something occurs, they say, look, here we can help you with this, and here's why?
It's both of those things and probably a third one. So there's education, then there's the pre-hiring sort of drug screening and things like that, and then there's what happens on the workplace.
Okay. Now, when I think about companies doing wellness programs or whatever, and everybody, you know, not everybody has a wellness program, and when they do, they differ from company to company, of course. And there's a lot of good ones out there. But typically I think about, when somebody said, we're having the company wellness, that means, you're going to have a blood pressure check.
Right.
Now, go beyond that, because the program that you're putting together for Best Health and have for a couple of years sort of takes that to a different level, and why?
Right. So the thing you're talking about are what we often call screenings. So very often they're vital sign measurements, pricking your finger, checking your blood sugar. All that's important. It's very broad, but not very deep. With what we do, it's very, very deep. So we meet with companies, with HR directors, with CEOs, and sit down with them and say, what are the problems you want to fix? You know, what are the issues and worries you have about your population as a whole? Often we are looking at claims review information that comes from the insurance company to say, these are areas that clearly are a big issue for your people. And then we go away and design custom programs that address what those problems are. And we very intentionally try to do as much as we can on site. We try to be very, very transparent in how much it costs and what we're doing. So we line item all that, which in healthcare is very unusual.
Yeah.
Right? Usually you have no idea what anything costs.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And then the last thing that we've designed it to be is very relational, because healthcare's gotten to be very transactional.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to say it is. People are running through as opposed to knowing you well.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's a great approach, and you're right on target with that.
It's very powerful and effective.
Yeah.
Very powerful and effective.
Yeah, and you mentioned something a minute ago. We have about a minute left, and I forgot to bring it back up. You said an executive health program. About a minute left. What does that entail?
Yeah, so the executive health program is really, if we do corporate health for sort of, we'll just call them the average typical worker, then executive health is more customized for what those people and those companies are worried about. So it's a half-day program, hour or two with a doctor, deep tests on things that might be rare but high risk.
Okay.
Like one of them is a cardiac CT that says how open or closed are the blood vessels of your heart.
Right.
Something you wouldn't know and most people have no symptoms of till they suddenly die.
Great
We're like,
program.
I don't think we want that.
No, it's a great, I just can't believe it. This is great stuff that you're doing. Up on screen, wakehealth.edu/besthealth is where you can learn all about this. Helping businesses and employees. This is great. Bill, thanks for all you do.
Yep, my pleasure.
All right, my friend.
Good to
We'll
be
see you
here.
next time. We'll be right back after this. Triad Today, and I have a gentleman here that I haven't seen in a while here on the program. We're glad to get him over here. He's always very busy, and you'll find out why, because we have a lot of things to talk about. On my right, Dr. Bob Shackelford. He's president, of course, of Randolph Community College. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Jim. Good to be with you.
You mentioned something to me in an email recently that said, and you said, pathways to prosperity. What is that and why is it important?
Pathways to Prosperity is a great thing in Randolph County right now. What it is the two school systems, Asheboro City Schools and Randolph County Schools, Randolph Community College, and people in business and industry in our community all working together to create a seamless pathway for students to go from high school to RCC to a great career in our community.
So everything's being sort of coordinated so everybody's on the same page. We know what kind of jobs are available and geared toward that, and that way you can sort of adapt some of your course load too, right?
That's right. We work together on it. It's not working in silos. It takes relationship, and that's what has made the difference. We've come together. We're all on the same page, and we do things. You don't have Asheboro doing their thing, Randolph County, us, and industry.
Right.
We're all sitting at the same table, working together to create a seamless pathway.
Now, I want to brag on you for a second, and I want to do it year by year very quickly. You can just give me a quick summary. Pathways to Prosperity. It's you've had 3 years of this.
Right.
Now, the first year I read about this, you had advanced manufacturing, you had the Golden Leaf Grant, you had apprenticeships. Talk a little about those three things that happened in the first year.
Yes, our focus the first year was advanced manufacturing because our county has a strong manufacturing heritage. And so some of the great outcomes of that year as we sat down with the school systems, RCC, and manufacturers in our county, we came out with some things. One was a wonderful grant. It was a $1.2 million grant with a Golden Leaf that funded upgrading the metals program at Randaman, starting a new metals program in Eastern Randolph. We have 2 of only 9 high schools in the state that have a metals program.
Wow.
Starting an advanced manufacturing program at Asheboro High School and bringing in equipment to us to be able to handle all the new students. All that came because we were working together.
Yeah, without the partnership, the high schools wouldn't have had that facility.
And Golden Leaf wouldn't have looked at us.
Yeah, and apprenticeships, that was big in the first year too?
Apprenticeships, and we're still benefiting from that. The apprenticeship Randolph is huge right now. We have students, we just signed 18 new students with 11 different industries in our community. Each of those students is going to benefit about $120,000 worth while they are in school. So the industries are going to pay for them to get an advanced manufacturing degree from RCC while working for them, and then they come out and they already have a career.
Wow. All right,
apprentices have about a $300,000 advantage over non-apprentices in the career over their lifetime.
That's amazing. In the second year of Pathways, very quickly, give me 5 or 10 seconds on the Allied Health Center. Who is that for?
We looked at allied health, careers in health. And so we are building a new allied health center, 45,000 square feet, increasing our medical program space by 86%. And it's going to be an L-shaped 2-story building with simulated hospital, simulated healthcare community. And our health community is so excited about it. We can add new programs and we can provide hands-on clinical experiences right there on site.
That's just great. And the third year, very quickly, you did some focus on agribusiness?
Agriculture is our third. People don't realize Randolph County has the largest number of farms in North Carolina of any county. And yet, traditionally, we've done very little with it. So we are focusing right now on agribusiness. A lot of people know how to farm, but how do you make a living at it? Agribusiness, agritourism, and also horticulture. And we're working on 2+2 degree programs with NC State and hopefully A&T and Mount Olive University.
This is just benefiting everybody, whether it's the health center or the agribusiness thing. I mean, this is just reaching out. It's not just Randolph Community College, but you're the leader in this, but you're just helping a lot of people with it.
Well, it's been exciting because this is something that it takes relationships, and if I'm willing to sit down with the school systems and we're willing to sit down with industry, we could do these things together. The whole county benefits, and the county is excited about us working together and bringing about these great things.
As they should be. And up on screen, randolph.edu is the website for more information. There's a lot going on. Now you folks at home know why I said he's so busy we can hardly ever get him over here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jim. Good to see you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and once in a while we do segments about Goodwill and what Goodwill Industries is doing to help people get training and get back to work and this kind of thing. And today we have somebody that's been here with us before, but not often enough. We're always glad to see her. On my right, very lovely Jamie Eichhorn's Vice President of Marketing and Communications with Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You sent me an email the other day and said that we should talk about something called Rethink Goodwill. Now, what does that mean? What's that all about?
So Rethink Goodwill is something that we launched a couple years ago as a grassroots effort to help the public understand the true mission of Goodwill. There's so much misinformation out there, rumors and things on social media in particular. And so we really want to educate the community about where their donations go and what the true mission of Goodwill is.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't realize that you say, well, I'll drop some clothes or household items off at the Goodwill Center, but they don't realize that then you'll take those items, send those over to the store, the Goodwill store, they sell those, and the profits from that goes back into helping with workforce development, helping with veterans, helping people get back to work. So it means a lot to the whole community.
Exactly, and that's why we call it Rethink Goodwill, because we really want people to reconsider what they think they know about Goodwill.
Now, are you going to have does this mean you're having certain types of meetings or tours or scheduled things or what?
We actually call it the Rethink Goodwill Community Tour because it's for anyone in the community who's interested in learning more about how Goodwill is serving their community. And it's just an hour, and it's every other month at our headquarters, and we make 3 promises to everyone that comes. We don't ask them for money. We'll only keep them for about an hour, and we feed them.
Well, that's, hey, look, for the food alone, I'm going in there, and food for thought. Now, who's eligible to attend these things? Can anybody in the public, do they have to RSVP, or what's the deal?
They do need to RSVP, but anyone in the community can come. Anyone who's interested in learning more about Goodwill, learning about our mission programs, finding out how their donations are used, how the money that's earned in the stores is used, anyone is eligible. And we've been able to grow the program a lot by getting referrals from people who have gone through Rethink Goodwill and know of others who can benefit.
And again, now, when you said at the headquarters, I want to make, because we're seen all over the area, I want to make sure people understand that we're talking about the Winston-Salem headquarters.
Correct, right by the Coliseum.
Right by the Coliseum. Now, how can folks register? I know we have up on screen, we might as well put this up on screen now. Goodwill is a website, www.goodwillnwnc.org. For the radio listening audience, I'll repeat that, goodwillnwnc.org. Is it good enough to go there, and then that takes you to another place where you can register, or should you call, or what?
Just call. You can use the general email that's on our website or the general phone number that's on our website, and either of those will get you to the right place and we'll get you registered.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And when you go in there, you said you've done these before. Mm-hmm. I'll put you on the spot. We didn't rehearse this. Have you seen sort of the light bulb go off in people's heads before? Have you seen a difference in people wanting to help or understand, or what?
Absolutely, and that doesn't just happen with Rethink Goodwill. Anytime people come to visit our facilities, they say, I had no idea. And we actually have a t-shirt that says, I had no idea. And on the back it says, Goodwill, we're full of surprises, because that's how often we hear that phrase. And so at Rethink Goodwill, I'm not going to tell you, because that's a secret for those who come. Me. That's right.
I have to come. You're not going to tell me.
That's right.
See, that's very clever. You're not going to tell me what you were going to tell me, because now I've got to come and find out what.
That's right.
Yeah, you marketing people. Anyway, all right, a few seconds left. Go back to the goodwillnwnc.org. Please do that and Rethink Goodwill. They do great work. We'll be right back. Triad Today, and if I ever want to know things about teeth, I've got the specialist here with me, and we've got him here today, so I'm going to ask him some questions about that. My good friend, he's right here. Dr. Nick Capehart, of course, with Ardmore Dentistry, and we welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
And people say, when I've introduced you before, they say, well, where is that? Well, it's in Winston-Salem, so we'll give you the website and stuff later on that. Hey, Doc, look, I want to talk about teeth, and especially whitening, because we hear a lot about that. First, let me back up and ask something, sort of an informational question. What does the color, where does the color in a tooth come from?
So the color in teeth, what people see, is made up of 2 parts generally. It's the color of the tooth, and then it's the brightness of that color. And so the color itself comes from inside the tooth, the dentin, and what it is, it's the mineral content within it, and everybody's got a little bit different content.
And that's what shows through.
And then you've got the enamel on the outside, which is more of a translucent layer, but also adds brightness to the tooth.
I got you.
And so what you see is, as we age, gain experience, I like to say, you lose more and more enamel just from erosion, just using your teeth.
Now, is that what causes teeth to darken naturally?
And so what you see is that process, when the tooth becomes less bright. And so it appears to be darker. And then the tooth actually does change a little color over time and continues to put more mineral in the tooth, which makes it appear darker.
All right, let's get to the whitening thing. It seems to me, I mean, you just get flooded with these TV commercials and things. It seems like there must be 1 million whitening products out there. How do you, I guess A, are they all the same? And B, how do you know what's right for you?
So, you know, it's funny, I was watching a movie, early 80s, and somebody was watching the movie just said, do you notice her teeth? They're really dark. And I was trying to, at that point in time, I started thinking about where did this craze of whitening, brightening
Fairly recently
come from? And that's kind of what I got to thinking, you know, this is a 10 to 15 year kind of thing. And I guess there's always been a niche group of people who have done something like that. But as for it to become mainstream, it's really within the last 2 decades.
Because you can have healthy teeth that aren't the whitest white, but they can still be healthy. All right, let me, what's the difference between bleaching and whitening very quickly?
So your teeth, as you use them, collect stain. And so typically, that can darken the tooth. And what you can do is you can use more or less whitening toothpaste, which is an external abrasive.
Right.
And it takes that stain away. That's typically what we kind of call as whitening. That's what you get when you go to the dentist and they clean the teeth. They whiten them back
So
up.
the toothpaste says extra whitening is trying to take the stain off the...
It's generally an abrasive toothpaste, which there's some problems with that, which we may get into at some other time. Bleaching actually bleaches the mineral content that we talked about within the tooth, so it's an internal type color change.
Now, there's something you emailed me one day, said something about trays versus white strips. Very quickly, what do you mean?
So the white strips, it's one of 2 bleaching chemicals that we use. It's carbamide peroxide or hydrogen peroxide. And the white strips use one of those chemicals at a lower concentration. And so the strips, all they do is hold that material up against your teeth so it has time to work.
Right.
The trays do the same thing, except it allows you to put more in there and also is a little bit more stable.
When you say tray, it's real. Actually, it's not a tray. It's like a tooth. I mean, it's a guard or something to put in it, right?
It's just a little plastic tray that covers the teeth.
All right. Very quick before we run out of time, I hear about clinics and spas popping up all the time who say, "Hey, we'll whiten your teeth for you." Is this on the level?
So that's up for debate in North Carolina right now. So the dental board, who gives licensures to all dentists in North Carolina, are trying to figure out, is that practicing dentistry or not? In my opinion, if they're not doing anything that's irreversible, they're bleaching your teeth, as long as you consent to it, then yeah, right. I think you've got the right to do whatever.
But bleaching may not be right for some people.
Well,
and that's why you need to go to the dentist, right? Instead of going to a spa or something. Anyway, I don't want to do a commercial for... Okay, up on screen, wsdentist.com is the website, 760-9310. They're on Maplewood Avenue in Winston-Salem, Ardmore Dentistry. Doc, thanks. You always have great information on this. I appreciate it.
Well, I like to make stuff up as I can.
No, you didn't make it up. It was all
Thank
real.
You.
All right. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, time for the infamous roundtable. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. Dr. Don Martin is next to him. He, of course, is a professor at High Point University, also vice chair of the Forsyth County Commissioners. He is unopposed in this election. And next to him is the great Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Keith has been doing a lot of good work across the country getting people registered to vote this year. We're going to devote this whole segment to our picks for the election coming up on Tuesday. But before I do that, I just want to say that we all lost a good friend recently. Lee Kynard passed away. He was a real television pioneer. He started the Good Morning Show on Channel 2 in 1957. I worked with him in the mid-'70s. He retired at 2000, and that show is the longest-running local morning show in the country, and it's all because of Lee. He was also a big advocate for education, and he was on the first 60 shows of our roundtable when we started up in 2003. We wrangled him over here for that. But Lee Kynard passed away. We will remember him. He was 86 years old, Lee Kynard. All right, guys, Lee would want us to march on, and here we go with some good information. We're going to give our picks on the election. Before we get into specifics, let's talk about the state Senate. The state Senate, Democrats need to pick up 6 new seats if they want to stop Republicans from being able to block Governor Cooper's veto power. Now, I don't know if they're going to do this or not. Let me get your prediction before we get into specific races. We'll start with you, Ogie. Will the Democrats pick up 6 seats in the State House?
It's doable. It's going to be close, but it is doable if you go county by county, it is doable by that much.
Yeah, state senate. I think I said House. State senate. Don, will the state senate pick it?
I think the supermajority is intact in the state Senate.
Really, Keith?
I think it's doable. It would be better if they had a governor's race in the state, but I think it's very doable with the amount of money that people are putting in to swing the state houses. Absolutely.
All right, I want to talk about two specific Senate races where I kind of hope that they will pick up these seats, the Democrats will pick up these seats. One is the District 27, where newcomer Democrat Michael Garrett is trying to unseat Republican Trudy Wade. Ogie, you've studied her a lot. Is she vulnerable this time, and can Garrett beat her?
Yeah, you can tell by the tone of her TV ad. She knows she's vulnerable, and she knows that she has gone as low as she's run the most despicable campaign. She dropped an ad this week that is the lowest of the low. It's just embarrassing, and it's going to backfire on her, Jim.
And she also tried to hurt the local newspaper industry in Guilford.
Totally. I mean, and Garrett has tried to keep it above board, but she has really gone low
Don.
on him.
Yeah, I think that local newspaper legislation that actually only impacted Guilford County after the state refused to support it. I think that will make it hard, and I think she probably is very vulnerable.
Keith?
She's going to lose. Sometimes when you go low, it hurts you. People don't truly understand that. And this time, with the way that the society is, it's going to hurt her more than it's going to help her.
Let's go to the 30th Senate District, then we'll move on to something else. But Jen Mangrum is trying to upset Phil Berger, who's the longtime Senate President of the Senate Pro Tem, who pretty much is at the center of everything that ever gets done in the Senate, whether it's HB2 or voter ID or voter suppression or whatever. District 30, can newcomer Jen Mangrum, a teacher professor at UNCG, unseat the powerful Berger? Ogie Overman.
Well, I tell you, Berger is the most powerful legislator in the state, period. She is so attractive. People are drawn to her. She's charismatic. She has run a wonderful campaign. And she's close. She's close. But it's going to be an uphill battle.
Don.
Yeah, I think taking on just if you look at the voter registration numbers, Republicans versus Democrat, if you take a look at the dollars involved, and obviously the experience, I think Senator Berger has an edge. However, let's say if there's a candidate that could beat her with a profile, beat him, I think she has it. I think Jen's got it.
I think it's going to be an upset. I think there's a different wave. People are tired of the partisanship. I'm talking Democrat and Republican, and they're going to revolt this year. And people are going to see people who are powerful lose their seats.
There's like 25 different House races that are important to the Piedmont. We can't get into all of them. I'll just say quickly, like 2 seconds from each of you, any big upsets you see coming in any House races? Do you think incumbents will prevail in most of those in this area?
House,
Deborah Conrad and
I think Deborah's will be close.
Donnie
they'll
Lambeth.
be close. I don't see it.
Don?
I think Deborah's will be close.
Any upsets you see, Keith?
I don't see any upsets.
All right, let's go to the two key sheriff's races, Guilford and Forsyth. Our good friend B.J. Barnes, after 24 years of serving as sheriff, Danny Rogers is trying to unseat him. Bill Schatzman, the incumbent in Forsyth, is being challenged by Bobby Kimbrough. Quick comment on those two, Ogie?
Well, I think both the incumbents will win. However, BJ's actually campaigning this year. It is going to be the closest race he's ever been in. And then Schatzman, too. It's going to be a lot closer than before.
Don Martin.
I think both win, and I think Sheriff Schatzman has run a good campaign.
Keith.
I think BJ is going to be very, very close, and I think Kimbrough upsets Schatzman.
That's interesting.
Absolutely, I think Kimbrough upsets
We've
him.
got three congressional races very quickly. GOP incumbent Virginia Fox running a lot of TV ads. She refused to be on our big debate show that we had. All the other candidates were here last week, as you know, running against Councilwoman Dee Dee Adams, who I hope wins. I think she's a fine candidate, Republican City Councilwoman. And then, of course, Mark Walker, the incumbent in the 6th District, being challenged by Ryan Watts, and freshman Republican Congressman Ted Budd in the 13th, being challenged by Kathy Manning. A quick comment on each of those. Who you pick to win?
I wish I could say Manning. It's really close. It's a toss-up.
Budd, Walker,
I think Walker's probably safe.
Fox.
Fox is probably safe, although Dee Dee Adams is I'd like to meet that woman. She's the happy warrior.
She's sweet. She's a sweet girl.
Happy
All right,
warrior.
Good. I think Dee Dee Adams will carry Forsyth, but I think she probably loses that district.
Keith?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Dee Dee Adams upsets because of the volume of people that are going to come out in the urban areas.
A lot of new voters.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, I wanted to get to constitutional amendments. We didn't have time to do that, but I appreciate all your input on that. We'll see what happens. And I agree. I think Ted Budd maybe deserves another term. I'm a Mark Walker fan. He's a good guy, and I think Dee Dee Adams would make a fine congresswoman. Having said that, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Speaking of politics, scientists in Boston have uncovered a time capsule buried by Paul Revere over 200 years ago. Inside were several newspapers, a bag of coins, and an autographed photo of Senator Mitch McConnell. I don't know what that means. It's something age-related. All right, for all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. Go vote.